What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. This is your boy Narik Chase, and in this video we're going to be talking about why a lot of the Resident Evil villains are just freaking they suck. Alright, Resident Evil is one of my favorite video game franchises and the favorite video game franchises for a lot of video game fans. Also, some of the most memorable characters, mainly the protagonists, stem from the Resident Evil franchise, such as, of course, Chris Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield. I'm just going to go ahead and put Albert Wesker on there. One of my favorites is Sheva Alomar. I like Rebecca Chambers. Like there is a lot of really memorable characters in the Resident Evil franchise, but I can't help but think just a lot of the villains in the games just freaking suck. A lot of it has to do with the fact that most of them, and not even just in generally in the games. If you watch the movies, if you've read the books, most of these villains just completely suck ass. Now there are some pretty cool ones. Of course, there's Albert Wesker. It's pretty much the most memorable one, but I've liked Nemesis. I've liked the new Ustanot. Now you can say they're tyrants and basically programmed to do what they're doing, but I like them because they have a really threatening presence throughout the games. Osmond Sadler from Resident Evil 4 was undeniably one of my favorites. I liked Jack Krauser as a character as well. But most of the other villains, they just completely suck ass, and mostly has to do with their personalities and their motivations. Now, Albert Wesker isn't the most diverse of a character. I mean, yes, he's pretty badass. He's pretty straightforward. The thing that makes him such a memorable character is his personality. How cruel this man can be, just how, and also how badass of a character he is, and we get to see that throughout the games. And that's probably another reason why he's such a memorable character, because he isn't like a villain that appears just in one game. He appears in several of the games. So I could chop that up to that as well. But most of the villains just completely suck ass. Uh, I've When I was reading up on, because I haven't played Code Veronica, like think about Alfred and Alexia Ashford. Now, like when I was reading the book, I didn't really get anything cool out of them. I mean, there was nothing really cool about them. Yes, Alexia, when she wakes up and realizes an idiot of a crazy ass brother is dead, she turns to this God mode thing, which came out of left field for me. But like even like his character in the book, it's like nothing memorable. He has that same mentality. Look, all of the Resident Evil villains fall under like two categories. Either they're a rich asshole or they're some evil scientist. That's that's it. Their thing is either money or just like control the world or something stupid. Okay, look, I understand the motivation, but let's just change this thing up a bit. If you look at Resident Evil Zero, the villain in that one was a bit different. Yes, I don't understand why the hell they designed him the way they did because it looks fucking stupid. But the actual character, the bad guy, I can't remember what this guy's name is off the top of my head. But like that character and what the secret is to that character, I was like, okay, yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting bad guy. Uh, I liked Osmond Sadler. He was the thing about him is yes, he kind of fit into that Resident Evil villain trope, but he had a lot of great personality, especially the witty dialogue between him and Leon throughout the entire campaign. Like that would make him a really interesting and cool villain. Not to mention he actually was pretty badass. And a lot of the characters in this list also, they're not even badass. They don't. They not only do they suck at their motivation, but their personality sucks, and they suck as an actual character. They don't do nothing freaking awesome in the game. Um, Now I haven't played Resident Evil 7, so I can't really rate the Baker family, but I have seen some clips on them and I thought they were pretty interesting characters. In Resident Evil Vendetta, Glenn Arias is a bad guy, and he is a villain that's basically out for revenge because of the U.S. government did an attack on him and his family while on his wedding day and killed almost all of his family. Okay, that's a good motivation. The problem with that was he was already a bad guy. So it's like, no, if you was a good guy and you got screwed over by the government and they did that, I can understand. But you was already a bad guy, so you really had it coming. So I can't really, that's like a give or take thing right there. The villain that was in Resident Evil, uh, not Degeneration, Damnation. I liked her. She had a lot of personality. She was pretty badass, and she had decent motivation. So like that character right there is like one of the more memorable ones. But look at the Ashford twins. Don't care what nobody said. Ashford twins, Oswald Spencer, Alex Wesker. Like Alex Wesker is one of the characters that I really wanted more from her character, and I was really disappointed at how the game portrayed her. So I mean, and yes, like, but what's her actual motivation in the game? She wants immortality, but what's built up to that? And I don't like the fact that a lot of it is they're like, well, she's genetically modified like Wesker to be an asshole. So that's her motivation because she's genetically altered to not like. I don't like that. I want Resident Evil from now on, whether it's the movies, the books, the games. Even if you read the manga, a lot of the manga is the same way. Like I read the Maharawa, Desire, and Heavenly Island, and like all of the villains, antagonists in those books were freaking assholes. Now Benji, that girl from Maharawa Desire, had an interesting motivation, but she was clearly crazy because yes, your friend did die, and you were trying to expose this college or this academy, but the way you did it ended up resulted in the death of like all of your classmates and all of these innocent people that had nothing to do with this. So it's like, no, you're an asshole too. So, um, like that's one thing I do want them to work on in any of the media of Resident Evil. Start giving us some actual cool bad guys with good motivation. If you think about the dude that was in Resident Evil One, I mean Resident Evil Damnation, his family were killed in Raccoon City. He was trying to expose Umbrella. Good motivation. He was a good guy. Good motivation. He was a good guy. If you look at the that one teacher guy that was in Resident Evil Damnation, dude was a teacher, and all this stuff just jumped off. Good motivation. They're just trying to make it through the day and free their country, liberate their country from this, this tyranny, I guess you could say. And so, I think that we need to start having more better motivated villains, more villains that you can actually sympathize with, actually a little bit more relatable in terms of character. Resident Evil 6, we had Derek Clifford Simmons. Did not give two shits about that guy. Carla, the chick that looks like Ada, she had an interesting motivation, and how she came to be was pretty interesting. The problem with her is she did the same thing Benji did in Mahara Desire. Okay, you're trying to get revenge on this one person, so all of these people have to die. Doesn't make any sense. Resident Evil 5, Irving. Who the hell is Irving? Don't know nothing about this cat. Excella. Would have liked to see more from her, but unfortunately, you don't really get that. I wanted to see more from Umbrella. I want to see more from Traffic Cell, Neo Umbrella, and that's another thing. These corporations that's backing these villains and all this to do all this crazy stuff. We need more. We need more motivation. Look, this is not Fallout, and they ain't Voltec, so they can't be hiding in the shadows all the freaking time. We already know who they are. So, but anyways, that's one thing we do need to work on with these Resident Evil villains is you're gonna make some villains, make some interesting villains with actual quirks that actually have personality that can be badass. Yes, there are games that a lot of the they're like I've played at least probably about half the games, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of other characters in the other games that I haven't played, and characters in games that I've also talked about that I haven't brought up in this. Yes, they might actually fit the bill when I say more memorable villains that actually, have personality and stuff. But for the most part, most of the villains that you see in any of the mediums are, like I said, either rich assholes who don't care about life and are just complete sociopaths, which a lot of rich assholes in the world are like that, or that he's just crazy mad scientist. If you read Caliban Cove, if you've read also Underworld, in Caliban Cove, the villain found out how to make zombies uh, do what he says, and it wasn't like his mad scientist bit just kind of was like a gradual thing or where he came to the conclusion that he could do this to humanity. It'd be different, but he's like, no, I can do it, so I'm going to try to take over the world. Underworld, the villain is this guy that's in this big science laboratory with all of these experiments going on with the BOWs and the T virus and stuff, and he thinks he's God down there. And I'm like, really? Like, give me some better give me better motivation. I can understand if you had a villain that had a loved one that was dying and you was utilizing the T virus to try to keep them alive or something like that, and then kind of cross paths with the heroes. See, some kind of complexity there because you're technically a good guy, but you're a villain to them. So I want to see more complex bad guys. I really do. I'm so sick and tired of every time a Resident Evil game, book, movie, any of this crap comes out. You got these cardboard just villains that they just completely suck. They're bad just right off the bat. There's no complexity to them. There's no interesting story to them. They just all of a sudden just one day be like, okay, I just want to start killing people and I want to start turning people into zombies. Or if it's a revenge scheme, I'm not going to go against the actual people that did me wrong. I'm going to take out everybody else that had nothing to do with it while acting like I'm going after that one person. So it makes me like an asshole. But anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let me know who are your favorite villains throughout the entire series, whether it's the movies, the books, the manga, the comics, the games. Who are your favorite villains? Who are your least favorite villains? And also, if there's some motivation or some points that I forgot to bring into this conversation, let me know down in the comment section below as well. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what's going on this channel. Catch you guys later.